Okay, today we're going to try making a little puzzle. I call it an interlocking puzzle. I sort of designed this so that all the birds would be connected somehow when you put the puzzle together. And it's going to be cut from probably this piece of scrap that I have here. It's a piece of poplar. It's about almost an inch thick. I'm going to see if I can do that. And we'll try putting these little birds together and see how it works out. So let's get to work on this, using our scroll saw, of course. Okay, as always, the first thing we want to do is take our blank here, which I said was poplar, and our painter's tape. I like this green tape. Works out pretty nice for me. Put this on, of course, to help the blade cut through this wood smoothly. The lubricant on the tape does that. And also gives me a place to stick the pattern, which you're going to need. And it peels right off nicely when we're done. So what we're going to do, probably use this side because it's a little smoother. I can sand that down later on too, of course. I'm going to get some Stickum now. That is some glue stick, and sop up the back of this pattern. And we're going to come over and plop it right down here. So let's go get that. Alright, this pattern is nice and gooey on the back now. I used a regular glue stick you can find in any stationery store or stationery department. I'm going to put this down here so it's right level with the bottom. And then we'll just press this down. And I'm going to take a drill, I think, and drill out the eyes on this. No need to waste time trying to cut them. When you get a nice little drill, it will do the job for you. And I don't think we're going to need to do any starter holes here or blade entry holes, because we're going to start on one end. Actually, we might put one entry hole, start it over here, and then we'll just cut everything else out. I would put one here. Now I could just start cutting outside and cut in there, but then as we go along, the thing might start to get a little bit loose on the scroll saw, so I think we're better off if we put one entry hole to start it out there. Okay, so I'll do that, and I'm going to go drill out the eyes, and I'll meet you over at the scroll saw, and we'll get to work on cutting this thing. Okay, I took a little shortcut off of the on the way to the scroll saw, just to show you what I'm going to do here. I've got my drill press, and I'm going to drill out the eyes, but what I'm going to do is I put a lock on here so that the drill press only goes up to that point. I don't want the hole to go all the way through the board that I'm drilling. Okay, by setting that lock, we can only go down about halfway. It stops right there, and therefore all the eyes will be drilled at the same depth. There's no need to go all the way through. What I'd like to do too here is drill only part way through on the eyes, and that way it'll make the puzzle a little bit easier because you'll be able to see what side you're on that you're working with. So we're going to try this and see how it works, and I think it'll be fine, but we'll try it out anyways. So here we go. We're going to do some eye drilling right now. Okay, got all the eyes drilled out. This little guy is a little bit smaller than the other ones, but his eye is going to be a little bit bigger than his body, but that's okay, we can manage that. And I got the hole drilled here for the insertion of our starting cut. So let's go to the scroll saw now and get this thing cut out. Alright, I'm going to use a number 7 reverse tooth blade on here. Cut this, as I said, this is about 1 inch thick, so we want to try to keep that as straight a blade as we can. So we're going to put this in here now, using that entry hole we drilled. And before we start actually cutting, what I'm going to do is cut a little sample piece just to see if my blade is straight and this thing is going to work, because you want the pieces to fit together nicely. So I'm going to turn it around here and give this a try first. Okay, let's test this out and see if the sample cut worked okay. What should happen is it should fit in nicely on the top, and it does. And then it should drop out nicely on the bottom, which it does. Okay, came right through there smoothly, no problem at all. So we're pretty certain now that we should be able to use this because it comes through very nicely. Okay, so let's start our cutting going here. Well, that sample cut, we got an even bigger entry hole now, so that's okay though. Slide that in there, lock our blade down, and let's begin cutting. I think we'll start with this little guy down here. Okay, we got our first hummingbird cut out. Let's see how it works. Drops through very nicely. Okay. Okay, let's continue our cutting here. Okay, we've got all the pieces cut out now, and what we're going to do over now is take them over to the bench and peel off these pattern pieces and see if this thing goes together. Alright, we got all our pieces cut out now. Let's take this pattern off. This is why you put the tape on, so that these things will peel off. You don't have to have any special fluids or anything to get that pattern off. Sometimes people just put the pattern right on the wood, and then they use various kinds of chemicals to get them off, or heat. You can use heat to remove them. Also, that's fine if you want to do that, but I don't know, I find it easier to just put the tape on it and glue up the back of the pattern, and it just goes right along, comes right off. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take all these pattern pieces off first, and then we'll try dry fitting it, so to speak, see if the thing goes together. I'm not really done yet, now that I think of it. I still have one more piece I've got to cut out, and that's the base piece. The tail feathers have got to fit into that base piece to hold this thing together. You could probably try balancing it on the table without the base piece, but I have a feeling it probably would be more of a job to get it to stand up. Whereas if you have the base piece, it'll actually go together better. So I'm going to go over and cut that out separately, and then we'll come back and play around with this thing and see if we can get it to go together. Okay, I cut out that bottom piece and put it on there and pieced the whole thing together. It looks pretty good. This bottom section here, it's all one piece right up in there. I have it on the pattern so you could cut it out if you want, or you can leave it in. I think if you leave it in, you got more stability as far as standing up goes, but it could go either way. What I'd like to do now is take this over to the sanding mop and round over all these edges. Makes the images more pronounced, as you'll see in the next shot that I show you after that. But it looks pretty good even the way it is now. Alright, so I'm going to go over to the sanding mop and do that. Okay, nothing complicated about the sanding mop here. If you've seen my other videos, you've seen me use this before. Basically, I'm going to take this piece, all these pieces, and run them over the sanding mop to round over the edges, smooth out the wood, and make it a more enjoyable fun. Okay, don't know if you can see this or not. It might go blurry on me here. Let me try to focus this in better. Okay, if you take a look at this, you can see that the edges are rounded on this now. Made it a lot smoother, and the whole puzzle is going to look a lot better for doing this. You got to watch it when you're doing your sanding too. In areas like this, for example, sometimes the mop will grab it and everything will just go flying and it'll break off too. So you want to hold it together very carefully when you're doing sanding like this. Like that, see? You don't want that to happen. Fortunately, it didn't break, but it could. So you always want to hold it so you got a good grip on it. Alright, that looks pretty good. We're going to go do the rest of these, and we'll put it together again and take a look at it on the bench again. Okay, we're all done. All the pieces fit together nicely, and the sanding along the edges there makes this thing really pop off of the wood. Looks pretty nice right now. Got it on a little base, and fun little puzzle to work with. Interesting to cut, and also makes a nice little display piece even after you're done with it. You can paint these birds, of course, if you like. I might end up going over it with a clear spray just to give it a little bit of a gloss to it, but it looks nice even in just plain wood. So hope you enjoyed this little project. If you'd like to cut one yourself, there's a link down below the pattern. You're welcome to come to my free page and download it. And if you enjoyed this video, click the little like button below. It will help me. And also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, click on that button also, and come back and see what other future crazy ideas I come up with. Thank you for watching.